We're going to have some serious words with Dave, I think, about
I was struggling.
I must say, right, I normally don't do this, but impressive. The patience you exuded.
Discipline
Just-
and patience.
I was about to walk
anger.
away. I'm telling you, I was about to just walk away
to
from that.
explode.
Just no, I don't know how you have that patience, but you did.
The bullet, it's stopping power of the bullet. You managed to get him to say that, but
No, he didn't manage
one
to
word.
stop
Yeah,
power.
No, we didn't
he
have
alluded to like the bullet. No, yeah, it was bulletproof. But he said
yeah.
the stopping power of a bullet. Yeah, but what is that in one word? Long life.
Like, living dangerously. Like, what's all this?
What is Iron Man? A robot?
not even thinking about
Oh
the
my
context of what we were talking about before.
That was
answered
it was
that.
actually horrific. Anyway, moving on here, of course, we're going to have another game of Miramar to come for PEL Phase 2 Week 7 Day 2. And after what we just had here, of course, very interesting to see that kind of top 6 makeup with 3 from the top 5, 3 from the bottom 5 as well, trying to combat for these extra points. And if we continue to see a trend like that, we definitely could see potential shakeups on either side in terms of the overall standings.
Oh yeah, but it's a lot about the bottom teams, right?
Yeah,
Because I feel like that's the most important one, together with the Border Patrol on 5th place.
For sure.
And here are the overall standings.
Yeah, let's take a look at True Borders at the moment
Look
here.
at the top. Look at the top 2 right now.
Oh, actually, G2 just breached into the 600 point mark. So
20 points difference only.
yeah, that is definitely something that G2 could strike at to get themselves first place here and become Phase 2 champions with only a week and a half to go, even though Na'Vi looked so secure in that top spot.
If Na'Vi have a similar day that G2 had yesterday, then it could be looking very spicy
Definitely could.
for them. Vitality also having a great week so far. Actually, they're on top. They're leading this week so far with 48 points. They've actually jumped ahead of Unity. So they're also trying to get out of this relegation spot. And considering, like, Frost was saying everything yesterday, with this is the time to do it. Like, you want to set yourself up for the last week in this week to make sure you're not struggling and you have to play worry-free in the last week.
This is by far the most important weekend. And I mean, right now, Vitality is showing life for once. And I hope that they can continue doing that, because right now, as you said, Martin, they are the #1 for the weekend so far, but they're still not really there yet. They still need to keep on going a little bit more.
I mean, 5 games down this week. They've got themselves 2 third places, 1 first place. I can't remember the other placements, but beyond that, that's already a kind of a revitalized, I keep doing this, a revitalized kind of weak start for them relative to some of the more poor performances that I had before. So there is opportunities there, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it also comes down to they feel more confident looking at them. They do get a lot of kills. They do hit their shots.
Yeah.
They're confident on taking the fights and taking the shots.
3 more games to go today. We'll be going to Miramar next and then Erangel later on. Martin, your thoughts in general?
Well, in general, I mean, with Vitality, I was sad to see them struggle. Honestly, I expected more with their change, the roster change with Kramer coming in. Kramer's an amazing player, very mechanically skilled player as well. The best left-handed player in the world, self-acclaimed.
There you go.
He plays with the mouse and left hand.
Fact.
If people didn't know this, he's one of the only ones to do that in the pro team. I think the only one other that I can think of the top of my mind is Hamster from Gamer Legion, who's currently doing really well in contenders as well.
Doesn't someone in MPL do it?
Might
Or
be an
is
MPL
it
player as well.
MPLC?
Might be an MPLC player.
It
But there's
might-
probably
it-
a few more
Is
around the
it
world,
Tingleton?
guys. huh?
No, it's not Tingleton. Someone else. I can't remember exactly who it is.
Like, there he is. Hat Butcher himself. It's Chris. What was he doing before? Now he's wearing it back to front. Why is he a Pokemon trainer? What is this?
What was that half down there?
Hey, go
Yeah,
away.
move along, move along. German Polizei here, move along.
Nothing to see, nothing to see. Move along.
I love this guy.
Of course, Team
Oh.
Liquid in the previous game got themselves 2nd place to start things off for the day.
Look at this. I love this graphic. Can we just...
Look at Jim Deceptive. They're keeping it twin style. with the kills.
Oh
I
my.
love it. I love it. The twins have the same kills.
You're like,
That's
Dempsey, you
some,
getting 1 kill? I'm getting 1 kill.
that's some psychic connection right there. I don't even know how to fathom that. What on earth?
And the beautiful thing is, like, you don't even need to have 1 IGL. You have 2 per definition.
You know what would be the greatest thing?
They're like
if
a
actually
hive
production
mind.
was trolling us and there actually wasn't the right stats.
Yeah,
but they were like,
yeah.
well, you know, they're twins.
They're like a high mind. They just think alike.
Yeah.
shoot
And also,
alike.
EB and Teams both in the top 100, in the 100 kills.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
That's really impressive. But at the same time, that's kind of expected from those two players.
Yeah.
Some of the top players here, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, sad to see neither of them be able to compete in the Nations Cup, actually.
Yeah.
Teams is Norwegian, and EB is the only Dutch player in the PEL, actually.
Oh.
So obviously, we have 11 Finnish players. Of course, Finland would be one of the regions to be represented at the Nations Cup.
And of course, Unity, as we took a look at them, on the opposite side of where we kind of see Liquid when it comes to the standings as a whole. But a 6th place in the previous game does give them a slight boost. They need more than that, though, to try and get out of relegation. I think it's almost assured that some of those teams are probably going to be going to relegation relative to the kind of performance we've seen them put them up.
Unless they continue what they're doing right now.
It's not too late to step it up right now, no matter which team you are in the bottom. All of them are within striking distance, but you have to start already. You can't wait any longer.
CrowCrowd, points so far this week, 15. Unity, points so far this week, 12. Reciprocity, 24, double the amount of points from Unity, more than CrowCrowd. But M19, also one of the Border Patrol teams, they're currently sitting in 4th with 41 points, just 7 points behind Vitality and 4 points behind G2. So if you want to step it up, now is the time. You got 1.5 weeks to go.
Final thoughts. Who do you want the wins to fall to here for Miramar? Final game.
I'm going to keep on saying raise your edge. I want them to get up there and fight for the 5th spot.
Fight the Border Patrol. You, Martin?
They're trying to sneak in.
Mine just doesn't want to tell me who he wants. Anyway. All right, it's time. That's going to be going into the game. Once again, Miramar, it's time to head over to Pansy and Sister Sims.
Why, thank you very much, guys on the desk. Always good to hear from you all. Maybe not Martin, he's just not giving you anything, is he? What a meanie. But, yeah, I don't know. I think we're seeing these teams getting nice and competitive. I like to see it. I want to see the teams at the bottom having to fight their way up. And we have been seeing more of it. We've seen ENCE in the last, couple of circles. Team Vitality keeping control of themselves. Plenty of room for them to try and push up out of that bottom 4, try and avoid relegation. It's certainly looming over some of these players' heads, but again, tough crowd to get past.
To jump out, they only need, I say only, as if it's that simple. M19's on 359, Vitality's on 333, so it's certainly within striking distance. If we look at the table so far over the last 5 games that we've had on 2 days, they're actually at the top. Vitality, G2, FaZe, and M19. Currently 48 points so far. 3rd place yesterday. 1st place and a 3rd place, so pretty decent high placings to Vitality if they continue this one. Try and avoid any kind of...
G2, where are they off to?
Probably as far as humanly possible up north, maybe Tori and Wada. We have seen them do some weird long drops before when it's...
Yeah, I guess it's not really favourable to the east, is it?
Plane dependent, right?
Yeah, and ENCE has gone very far south as well, so...
Hey, that circle's also fallen slap bang over the plane path, so a lot of these teams are already going to be set up. You know what's possible here? Some teams actually go for a reposition early. Knights could just spread the wings and set up residency wherever they want and then take the pick of the bunch when they decide to move. Uber, don't go too far, buddy. Make sure you stay at least somewhere close to FaZe and you can reposition where you need to. Raise your edge, play edge of circle. That's fine. They are not too far from anywhere else, and a stone's throw from the center. If they want to bomb it down the hillside, they can do that. That's possible. What else have we got here? Leone's usual spot. Reciprocity. Probably the longest distance to go. Actually, no, scratch that. It's ENCE. Usually we see them somewhere between La Bandita, Impala, and Junkyard, that little triangle area. Scrap looting. But they are well and truly as far away from the circle as possible.
Yeah, they are quite far off. And ENCE in the south did get a little bit of attention from Reciprocity early. That would be a big loss for them. Raise your edge after a bit of a not bad performance, a little bit lacking to what I'd like to see from them. Clearly having a bit of an issue there before with those hard shifts coming in. But I guess in silver lining, TSM did go down quite early, so that's what they're focused on, that little bit of a battle between each other. This does look like a FaZe Winstrike sort of situation, right? This circle just looks so good for them. Na'Vi always seem to play it quite well as well because they get to come down from the north, heading south. And beyond that, though, everyone else seems pretty well situated. TSM definitely going to look for a better result than that first game, though. That was a shake it off sort of moment. That nade probably very frustrating for them. ENCE are in the vehicle, so they might be looking to try and help themselves, you know, get some more loot, get something going for themselves out there. As a walkie-talkie in the background is so damn loud. I'm about to lose my mind.
It's going to be a nice, quiet one.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Apart from that walkie-talkie, everyone should be able to survive the next rotation. There's no real rotation for the ones that are already centralized. Winstrike going for an early one. I can see them on the map. Timmy is overextending from the rest of his team outside Pozo towards the center. The Knights there as well. And again, I did mention about them going slightly earlier than usual. Otherwise, just down the mountainside is the center point. I think I set up on that roadside. You wouldn't expect anybody to just dive through the middle of the road for the simple fact they'll just die.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, inevitable at that point, doesn't it?
Yeah, crossfire like that. You're going to be met with a hell of a lot of force when you do arrive. Liquid, it's about that time for them to move. Where they go is an interesting question. Do they trek past power grid, maybe take that hillside, just lingering off the back foots a bit? Vitality, I expect them just to maybe take the hills. Again, between that power grid and then further off the back of the power grid as you drop down the hillside, there is a little compound side of the road. That's some prime territory because there's a lot of teams that want to be looking that way.
Sure, what's going to keep me interested is if there's more pressure in the north than normal. Na'Vi have generally gotten away quite lightly in these circles. You'll see a couple of teams coming in late towards the north, maybe from the northeast. But now with a little bit more pressure up there, you know, Raise Your Edge and G2, that could be another little bit of a switch up. It could be a little bit different. You're kind of getting used to what's normally around you, right? You know which teams come nearby, you know who rotates where and how they like to play it out. I'd like to see a little bit more pressure in the northern side, see what Na'Vi come up with. They seem very good, very well versed at handling it. It's not a matter of them failing in it. I'm just interested to see how they play it out. If there is more, doesn't mean there necessarily will be. Again, G2 do like that edge game, so they may not pressure them too much. We'll see. Again, this is always a fun one for me. FaZe looking for their home at this point. The Knights did move early. You highlighted that, and they're definitely going to get the benefit of it. DA very close towards Team Liquid as well. A couple of pot shots being put across. NIP's en route, and Na'Vi heading down from the north.
FaZe will take the 2-2. Mexi goes on ahead. He does have support from FaZe at least. I'd seen Uber sit back. And the reason for them sitting back is to basically just keep an eye line on what's happening in Monte Nuevo. It's a decent spot for a team to rock up down from the south. It's really the only place to kind of go if you are going to come completely down the side road. If they watch that and just keep a guard, stop anyone else being a nuisance and actually putting a foothold in there, it gives them a nice, easy way into the circle, should it go to the north, or at least somewhere to move off the back of. I mean, if we had a really hard shift completely away from them, there's options to fall back and then take one of the dirt roads if you want to. 6 more clearly been spotted out. We can hear some bullets in the buildings.
Yeah, that's Team Liquid. They've known they've been there a while. It looks like Liquid are just going to try and maybe catch a shot or two towards them, but you can see the covers there with DA. It would be a over-peak, over-extension if they do get punished for it, I feel. They've got, you know, the nice cover to work with. So I'd be surprised if that maintains being an issue. I feel as though CrowCrowd are going to scout out correctly. Probably no need to crash this. This is out in the kind of northeast, TSM, NIP. Always a bit of a battle, a bit of a scuffle between the two. It seems quite common.
Kind of expect it, given the looting location, right?
Exactly. So I think TSM are aware. So they're going to be a bit careful about that. Raise Your Edge finding their way in. G2 just kind of trail in the blue. Just in front of it, tell a lie. So they'll work it out. I'm going to lose my mind at whoever's out there. Again, apologies guys at home if you do hear all the noise outside. Hopefully that does stop. No fun for us either. It does seem as though ENCE have found their way off the prison island as well. They've got themselves out in the west. So they should actually have a decent entry point here. There's not that many teams out there at the moment. That's obviously not the best place to be, but they can at least get in towards a circle. For them, they are definitely looking for more down the line. They've been getting towards those final circles far better now. So I'm hoping we see more of that. This could be a little bit more pressure. Jazza putting up quite close towards Shadow. So maybe able to get a glimpse towards NIP, who are very aware that there's an opponent there. So a lot of these teams quite close by at the moment.
That'll be a wide swing from ENCE all the way on the west. I like the fact they're going more towards the middle area rather than committing to a side. The downside, if the circle goes to the east, that's when it becomes a problem because you have to run the gauntlet of that main road line, which when we look towards it, FaZe, Knights, NiP, Vitality, even TSM to a lesser extent if it goes all the way to San Martin. TSM still in that 2-2. You touched on it earlier on with NIP. Unfriendly neighbours from the very start. San Martin, Hacienda. Don't see too many clashes, but certainly they have a good presence and awareness of one another and what's going down. Shadow's clearly just scoped out a player in the building. We might give that information back to Jazza, feed that to the man with the K9, see if he can...
Oh, God, the bike.
F. It's always a nuisance when it happens.
Yeah.
Does he have a... Is it me or did he not have a helmet on there?
I thought I saw one. I thought I saw level 2 on him, but
Might
maybe I'm
just be his
mistaken.
hairline, I don't know.
The receding
to
hairline
tell.
giving it away. All right, let's see where this circle heads towards.
Central, go on.
I feel as though it will be,
Yeah.
yeah. It does at least open up a lot of Pozo. That should be interesting if teams have to commit to it. I know they probably won't want to, as it's tricky to play in those cities. Crater fields, again, there's a lot of areas in this circle that are not ideal. So we might see teams suffering in this. There's that big shift from southeast to north. They're all heading across M19 and Reciprocity, all going to have to look for their way in. The teams in the north can shuffle through, but if they're all going to go to the east side of the circle, there will not be that many compounds available. We will start seeing teams suffering casualties. Na'Vi looking like they want to move in towards Winstrike, and I wonder how close they're going to get towards it.
Good play from Vitality. Get a good foothold on the map. FaZe. Oof, that's a shot to the back of the head. A few of them are damaged. ENCE will finally go down. Mexi holding on
Barely alive.
by a breath of fresh air. But they do see him. He can't rest for too long. ENCE pick up a point. Rory's been tapped also. Gets a bit of air as he does fly through. Rexico might just chase this one down. Necessarily not to get the kill, but just to see where he goes. Actually, no. Tell a lie, facing opposing way. He's out inside the circle. Maybe get ahead of them to cut him off potentially rather than know where he is.
Dearie me. D-Mash could have had that all day long.
Tunnel
Now they're having
vision.
problems. Yeah, that's not good. It'll be M19 losing out towards Liquid as well. Mert turns it on D-Mash. And this is a disaster for M19. That is a big loss on that one. They were in 12th place at the start of the day. Results like this are not going to help you at all.
They fluffed that one. Should have been a confirmed knock instantly from behind. And instead, I think it's a second chance behind the tree. Gets shown up. And unfortunately, a team where 4 teams are looking at your position as the way into phase number 3. That's not a good start. That gives ENCE a bit of firepower now. Realize that M19 are gone. We can jump above this. Just to be aware as well, and I think it's the teams that we don't speak about too much just because we've been focusing on top and bottom, but like CrowCrowd and Digital Athletics, they're starting to get a bit of a nice buffer away from that kind of bottom 4, bottom 5 zone.
I'd like to see more from DA, if I'm honest, just because we saw them at the start of the Pro League sitting within the top 5. Kind of around that marker 6, you're around the TSM, raise your edge level. I'd like to see them kind of get back to that. That'd be quite nice for me to see if they can push back towards it.
I think their gameplay, isn't there?
Yeah, there were moments in the gameplay where they were getting away with that late game centralization, just bombing into compounds, and it worked for a little while. But I think it got red eventually, and people kind of grew a little bit wiser to it. I do wonder if they can rekindle something there just to push a little higher. They're doing fine. They're not in danger of relegation. They're not, anywhere bad. But I'd just like to see a little bit more from them.
CrowCrowd, the team that's undergone serious changes, to be fair, compared to phase number 1. Certainly a damn sight better. Big improvements across the board for that roster. Still can't take away from Na'Vi being the most improved team.
100%. Hands down.
It's unreal. I think, and I said this one yesterday, I still think G2 is the most refined team from the little mistakes that they were happening in phase number 1, even all the way through to the mid-cup that we had. And WOM, that's in Pozo, so maybe Na'Vi
here's
get that.
The fun. Right, let's talk about why this is fun, because there's areas in this circle that make the game exciting to me. Look at G2 as well. What on earth? How have they gone away with so much of this? Raise your edge, slap bang in the middle. All the teams who start out in the northeast are really happy about this sort of play.
Do you know what will be really fun here and very proactive if they do it? Rexico's all the way up in the north. He's on his own. He's got a vehicle. The question is, do they come back? Does he fall back to the team, and do they play the edge of Crater? Do they lock it down as a unit, or do they leave three here?
Look at these
everyone
teams.
just magnetized towards them.
This is a battle of the top. Just throw Liquid in there, and you've got every team looking for that. This is the battle of the giants about to go down. Uber's there, Fuzzface, Mexi's not far off, but Na'Vi as a collective have turned up. I want to see this, because how did G2 play this? They don't have all their players there. Brexco was further away, and now Chris is on the move. Maybe they're backing away from that compound, maybe feeling it's not the best choice. CrowCrowd getting a glimpse towards Liquid, but Ibby's got an angle on that one, so Kemba cannot overpeak, even with that MK. As nice as it may be, you can't overpeak it, because it's not just Liquid. That was Winstrike getting a tag.
G2 have opted not to take the fight, and they've gone into the craters. But the reason that all these teams have flooded here, it gives you the most options, depending where the circle goes. It gives you a very good place to maneuver yourself, depending on the circle. Empty still in the back lines. Liquid onto CrowCrowd.
I think Na'Vi have got it. Yeah, I think FaZe have realized we can't
They can take height on them, though. They can get above them.
But look at Aduzi. He's matching it. He knows that's where they want to go. They already have Fuzzface up there, though. So again, FaZe have the step on the hill, but you've got a bit of a mirror matchup in that one. That's a lovely battle going down. Real high-tier play between those two. G2 have just completely backed from it. They've gone across further north towards the north side of Crater Fields. They're not involved in this. And this is a battle not even near the circle. This is way out in the south, so the blue will be on their back soon enough.
Uh-oh.
And Sixmo could have a bit of a deeper play on this. That's not bad. Tag towards Haxeti. That's thanks to Winstrike, not far off.
With this nade, it'll give away his position now. That's the only thing. Scoom should act upon this, which he does, but the initial tag's there. They're now up against the blue, and there is...
big tag from Haxeti.
Yeah, that does a lot of damage. Aduzi in the kill feed, answer backs to Uber, so we would move on into the bottom corner.
Oh, Na'Vi aren't letting them have anything here, are they? Na'Vi lost down a player, but they instantly they mirrored, and I love that. That's the high-tier play you want to be seeing.
It's a response.
It's so exciting. There could be a revive on this, unless, you know, a god-tier nade comes flying out. Sixmo's in danger. He's gone down. That's Scoom clearing it up. And we're down to Mert and a beautiful death still alive, just in the blue.
It's going to go all the way around them, but by the time he turns up, and when you've got no stims on...
Oh, Rafi, no idea Mert was there. That's a spray. I feel as though Mert might be done for, though. This feels like a mutually assured destruction when you still have Winstrike watching this all go down.
Yeah, Rec really needed a big game here after a 16th place finish. Circle has updated, as you were watching on the map.
Wow.
And you will see why FaZe and Na'Vi were so adamant on taking that location. It has homed in on it, and it's pulled away from the... It's not the crater, it's the crater next to the crater with all the oil refinery area. Rec 15th place off the back of a 16. That is...
Not good. Really not good for them.
Oh, that's brutal. Jempty bleeds out in the blue. All these players just fighting on this side, yet to make it into the circle. Unity, they're held back by G2. TSM, yet to make an approach and run a gauntlet. CrowCrowd, they were hammered by Liquid earlier on, and that's basically paused them up against the blue for now. NIP, they will make an approach, but they're running Death Valley. It's basically the only road into the circle, and unfortunately, all roads lead to Pozo, and there's three teams now waiting. Actually, this is an interesting one. CrowCrowd are making an approach. NIP have set up basically a road encampment here. I can see it on the map. Keep an eye on that kill feed, because CrowCrowd have been forced into this engagement.
Yeah, I don't know how much cover they've got to play with. MBS and Miracle are the interesting ones to me. We do obviously see all these deaths are essentially because of that hardship towards the north. That's what happened. It's how it goes sometimes. It's not this circle that's done them in, that was the one prior. So that's basically cause and effect. All the teams that are in the south have now suffered. But that's a big turnaround, and maybe an error from NIP. They set up on this, and now they're suffering because of it as well. They've lost down Miracle. Sure, they still have 3 alive, but this was not the plan. This was not the play. And now the fire from afar comes in from Vard. The nades come in from Gaxi, and the damage finally comes through. Cleaner kills for NIP, but it got a little bit scary at points.
And at this point, you have to commit to it, right? You've lost a player, so just... You set up the entrapment. You've got to go for it now. Get the final flush, do the job, and it's job done. CrowCrowd's out. So you set up for the trap, you sprung it, you took the points, but the question is, was it worth it? They lost a player. They've lost a lot of utility while doing so. James somehow on his last legs. Here goes Jimbo's last stand with a vehicle that is barely classed as a vehicle, because the poor bugger is lynching on an edge.
Just a very thick bike.
Yeah. More stable, at least. There is that still.
And the thing is, he's not even in the circle yet. NIP can just kind of work their way in.
They should disengage from this.
FaZe, yeah, James has to just run in circle. That's his game plan right now, is just try and find a way in. Looking at the North, though, Unity trying to get towards basically in the circle. They're in the north side here. Crater Fields has G2 in a 2-2 split out there. TSM littering the side of it as well out towards the east. FaZe moved up towards that hill after the little scuffle with Na'Vi, and it does give them vision towards Unity.
So FaZe has the high ground here. Na'Vi have a central point in the circle. We also have a lot of coverage from the compounds. The church on the backside's fully clear. No one's in there. They'll just leave it for now. Unity have to run the FaZe dungeon, unfortunately, with the final boss of FaZe just on top of the hill. Easy points for them. G2 spotted, and Mexico tagged quite hard, down to about 60% HP. Tizerin still giving away his position, or at least information, to the rest of FaZe that they are still lingering. Wookie with the M24 Raw with the SLR, trying to work something onto G2 here. They have a nice clear area. No one can really challenge them. Gaxi.
Did you want to get out on that side, Gaxi?
Be aware that crate, excuse me, yes, the crate that did come in, it was, I believe, Drayden who picked it up, the AWM. So that is in play.
I think he got a kill with it as well.
And look at their position.
Yeah, for me, this is interesting, right? The teams in the north kind of got away with murder a little bit. Now they're being punished, so G2 might be frustrated because they previously had that Na'Vi area or kind of close enough by. FaZe are going to have to find a way to work back down. There probably is room on that hillside for them, but they have to consider that Unity are still going to be behind them. TSM's route, I'm wondering how open that is. I don't know how much vision Raise Your Edge have on it, because it looks like TSM is shooting NIP, so you might have vision above, but not including that. Now, Gaxi's pulled up towards the Knights, and that's not going to look good for Gaxi. Cut to size by Snark and Wanted as a nice maintained position. Very, very prime position, as is ENCE's spot, actually.
So for TSM, the main obstacle is G2. For the simple fact there is two behind them that can pull up, and I've just noticed on the map, Brexico and Kaint, they're repositioning. Kaint will probably go regroup with the rest of his teammates, work on that. Okay, now that has just disabled everything that they were going to try and do. Brexico's position was incredible, did not get ready for the third party that come in, and now he's basically allowed TSM to get away with this. They might be able to kill G2 on approach if he'd managed to stay alive on that hillside, he could have kept TSM back.
VOD's got an angle. That should be a headshot. There it is. Dink down, put to bed. Say goodnight. It's MBS to get the point in the pocket, but it's all for the benefit of NIP. Unlucky for James. He was trying to work a way around Raise Your Edge, but NIP being meticulous in approach. G2 not looking so hot here, Rich.
No, but that comes down to TSM keeping them in check. Good player by them. Maybe not the best of plays by Brexico, not watching for the off angle, which did, in the end, mean him dying. TSM can't at the edge of that crater and go uphill, should they see fit, unless someone managed to just land a worlder of a shot through the windows. Raise Your Edge eventually have to come out. When they do so, NIP is getting a position so they can get an angle. Center of the map is completely open. No one's there. It's barren. It's a wasteland. Wookie's the deepest into the circle. The next point of contact might come back to this fight on your screens now. Unity.
Oh my god, Chris, did you just see that? He just punished him so bad. Gustav tried to peek him. He should be fine, but that was a little scary. They do eventually take down G2, but it puts TSM in a predicament. They're still trying to keep themselves, calm in this one. This fight will continue. The FaZe, Unity, potentially Na'Vi at the end of the road coming through. Uber's going to get down Dastish. This is MBS trying to keep back Raise Your Edge. Fast rail on the heel, needs to hit the deck to make sure he doesn't get picked up. Winstrike trying to help him out, but here comes Na'Vi. Finally joining in on the fight. They're looking down towards FaZe, and FaZe being a loss is actually pretty scary here. Winstrike going to send it, try and get somewhere new, trying to find a bit of a ditch to maybe prone into. MBS prowling around, but it's fast rail to game VOD's points. Put those comfortably in the pocket of Raise Your Edge.
Scout, red dot, compensator, up close and personal, should win the game. That'll be an instant flush. He's going for the second. The overpeak from Sigzy. This will be dangerous, and it is. He collects two if he goes round and flushes this. That's 2-3 points. There's no person there.
No.
NBS. What are you doing?
One by one they come, and one by one they fall. Huge mistakes from Raise Your Edge, and what a punish from MBS. He cannot get the heal off right now. He only has a bandage. He might be able to get them all. Oh my word, he gets stolen in the end by Michael, but what a play from him.
That's disgusting. And that's a complete blunder A blunder and a half from Raise Your Edge to single peek like that, one man. A Scar and a comp up close. 3 players down by one single man. That's not good.
Yeah,
but an absolute beautiful play from him. Credit.
Yep. FaZe being a little bullied here by Na'Vi. Na'Vi are holding the line as late they can. They do not want to leave this. FaZe now having to force their way forward here. Close quarter combat, and it's working very nicely. Pokemon has been lost in the meantime, but that means it's just Mexi standing right now. Fuzzface was lost earlier. And of course, Uber now going down makes it very tricky for Mexi to work forward. He knows he's trying to play all these angles, dodging, weaving, trying to dip around it, find a way in. The tags are good from a doozy. Watch that cross and FaZe get crossed out.
The Na'Vi hold, but they've taken some casualties while doing so. And they've given up their position. They do have to come down from this. It's a little bit exposed, but certainly the valley will give them a level of cover that they can work with. Wookie's position earlier on was decent. He was keeping an eye line, a bit of a track, and a tab on what was going down with a Raise Your Edge fight. Michael then responds in kind. Does MBS a favour. Gives Nip 3 points by finishing off that final one. Disallows any kind of work from Raise Your Edge. Best to watch now. Eyes on the prize towards the Knights. They are inside the circle. How much further they can really go after this is the bigger question. You rotate edge of circle, try and play, but then you've got ENCE to deal with. On the western side, you've got the Knights who will keep an eye line to the central, and then up the north, TSM. So they're basically just going to be gate kept hard. And how many smokes they have? See, they've not been in really many fights where they've had to use smokes. Yes, they've been going in fights against FaZe, but there's no reason to smoke it up and hide yourself. You had to let FaZe do all the hard work.
I still think that early fight they took to Mirror against them, they might have used those smokes there, I'd say, and their utility there potentially. New circle. The Knights are happy. Not ideal, of course, but you'll take that compared to everyone else currently. ENCE, I'm looking at where they decide to go. They have a very tough position. That should be a shot every day of the week. Wookie signed, sealed, and delivered to the brain of a doozy. That's going to kind of slow the roll of Na'Vi, give maybe ENCE a second to get themselves stuck in here, but that is a rough position.
Rustin Mars trying to build something here. You have to work with what you have.
No.
It's
It's not nice.
It's not great.
No, but
Not when you've got an Orm, a K9,
I'm
and an
wondering if
SLR all.
Navi's angle might spot that. I don't know how much they can see from up on that hill. No, there's a little bit of rock between it. Triply's going to make the run now, man. Dash on the bike, going to try and get across as best he can. If he can get towards that, great.
There it is.
No, Drayden's going to find Rustam up. Any overpeak and you're going to be punished. MBS, your last man standing for an IP, did some really good work, but again, there's awkward amounts of cover here. TSM have a bit of a plateau to play with. That's very nice for them. Oh, Wookie's landing some blinders here.
That's the second, so surely it wasn't a headshot, but you'd have to assume his gear on a doozy is going to be pretty well smashed to smithereens. Mikas onto Snark. I'm surprised he's... Actually, I'm surprised he's going to away with that one. Wookie finally puts him in the grave after 3 bullets. Gets the job done. Michael with a follow-up onto the NIP. Good last stand there from MBS. Decent job. Mikas onto Snark. Wanted onto Molodoy. Na'Vi are gone. 6th position will be there. Drayden, he just holds the angle. Mikas has to run because of the blue, unless he decides to give it up. But I'm assuming he will not be able to make it to that smoke. The 3-time spray should be good. Stats it off. Bye-bye.
Nicely done. Winstrike, for me, have kind of really got the pick of the litter here. I'm a little bit scared for everyone else when they've got this good spot. This is very, very good for them. TSM could play this out very well. They've got control of this entire northeastern side. Michael's going to show off now. 7 kills for TSM overall. Michael with 5 of them. Big play, big vision. And all the other teams locked down in that southern side here.
TSM, the gatekeepers to GLL currently. Raise Your Edge was coming into this 449, 462, so certainly knocking on the door. There is a response from Trifeli onto Rory. Gets a bit overzealous, but still, the bullets continue forward. Wookie Bookie in that M24. He's actually not even bothered going for the res. Have to be careful, though. Trifeli answers back. That's a good shot to force Wookie off of the overpeak. He's actually hit him through the smoke. Whose cannon it was? That was wanted. That was definitely a tag through the smoke.
Oh, this is where it gets tough for the Knights. They've got to leave that compound. It was great for so long, but now look at the positions. ENCE can try and shuffle in once they get those revives. It's not easy, but I'd say it's an easier run than the Knights have. I don't know what they have left. For the Knights, they're going to have to run out. You've got Winstrike looking at them. You then have ENCE, you have TSM. Everyone's going to look towards the Knights. They do have the Orm to maybe get them out of one situation, but the SLR, that 24, the Mini, it's all very, very tough terrain to work on. And here they go. There's the cross, and it's gone very poorly. Tixu unleashes Fury with the SLR as there's now just one man standing. Bit of a steal from Michael towards Wanted, but where's Nark? He's your last man standing here. You can see them all desperate for these points.
Top of the hill, TSM. Bottom of the hill, Finland. Look at this. ENCE and Winstrike just holding back this final player from the Knights. The smoke won't do you any more favors.
Almost had him though, didn't he?
It was a good effort. Now, it's all eyes on TSM. They're the ones playing uphill here.
The Finns will sense each other.
Never mind. Rory just thinks,
Rory.
you know what? I'll just throw a grenade at your head instead.
Yeah, look, there's going to be a Finnish alliance. They have no idea it's each other. Or they do, but they won't, you know, they're not going to actually do that.
Actually,
but in my mind...
I'm really sorry to break you off here, Lauren. If TSM focus too hard on taking down ENCE, do Winstrike maybe sneak up the side behind them?
Having Wookie and Michael both on that side makes me feel no. Tixu going to engage. The more shots you get back, but let's look at who's closest to the center here. This is a very tough fight for all of these teams. It's a literal uphill battle for Winstrike and ENCE. The revives come in. TSM, I don't know how much covers towards the middle. There isn't a great deal. They have Wookie closer than anyone else, and there's that little, that little plateau might be the game-winning sort of area, just where Wookie is. It could open up to ENCE, maybe trying to slip up the western side, but the tag's coming through from Tixu, trying to stop Michael getting towards the same sort of position, and that wasn't bad.
Hits him twice for 27 through the smoke. That's decent, this grenade. Could be even better. No helmet on Tixu, so these grenades have to make something work.
They're big grenades, so they could do really well to make TSM very uncomfortable here.
If he follows up with this, that could be devastating. TSM in the last round had an awful game because of the grenades.
That's so good, and Jorski punishes Wookie and Michael. His game back on. Winstrike find a way forward, and now ENCE gets into the battle. Fin-on-fin action. The spray. Oh my god, that was so close. One more shot, he just messes it up at the end. Tixu stabilizes, and Tixu now on the move, spraying, and he wants those points. He wants to make sure there's no revives. He sees them out, he takes them down. 5 players alive. Rory is one of them. The TSM last bit of hope here, standing towards the north. Squeaky towards the west, and 2 Winstrike players towards the southeast.
Instantly goes for the helmet off the dead bodies, confirms the kills as well. All these teams stacking some points here.
Surely Rory's going to have line of sight on this. Surely.
Thing is, though, he has to make the bigger move into the open.
Oh, he's been spotted. Tixu
what
spotted
a
him.
jump. That's dirty.
Oh, he's just letting Rory know. Your position's noted, mate. You've got to make the play. Oh, Rory, sweet summer child. Proning down. Rory is just put to bed. It's too late for you. You've stayed up past your bedtime. And wait, what?
Squeaky?
What? Squeaky?
How did he do that?
It's almost like you should always observe the last man standing in a situation, because that could happen. Hello?
What in God's name just happened? How did he do them both?
Give me a replay, please. I want to see that. I would give anything.
Well. I have no idea how he got them kills. He's clearly waited till the right time